Are politics and political wins really more important to you than people's lives? The following segment is brought to you in partnership with our friends over at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org. Last week on this segment, we talked about a Fox News segment that had made the rounds on social media where Fox News sent a correspondent to Seattle to talk to voters about the crime crisis. And at least those who were featured in the video that Fox News put out were Seattleites who pretended as if Seattle was not in the midst of a crime crisis at all.
It's not a thing that happens just on the street. People don't just come up and try to rob people on the street. Do you walk around every day like someone's going to rob me every second?
Yeah. And as I pointed out at the time, that it wasn't cute, it wasn't clever, and it was actually, frankly, quite embarrassing to watch Seattleites, in the name of, I guess, dunking on Fox News, try to downplay what is a very real and very apparent crime crisis on our streets. And I said at the time that that was really the line from that woman in the green coat that stuck with me, is her saying, people don't just walk up to people and rob them on the street. And I thought, yes, they do. It happens all the time. I mean, I thought of Ina Kwan, which wasn't a robbery, it was just a random act of violence, but a pregnant woman in the car with her husband near the business that they own and gets shot and killed for no reason. That was a random attack on the streets. We just talked about earlier on the show a man going up to two elderly people and beating them with a hammer. So yeah, there have been many, many headlines. These aren't one-offs in Seattle of random people who are just going about their business being attacked. And of course, just a couple days after that Fox News story, and some people in Seattle celebrating this woman for putting Fox News in their place by saying, that's not a thing that happens. People don't just go rob people up on the street. There was this really horrible story. And again, are we going to continue to ignore the obvious? Continue to ignore the obvious course of events, what's building up until true tragedies happen? And I guess the answer is yes, because there was a story that almost fits to a T what that woman says is not happening on the streets of Seattle. The headline from Fox 13, I love him a lot wherever he is. Family remembers man stabbed to death in downtown Seattle. So you've got this guy and his brother. And it didn't say in the story, but it sounded like perhaps they were immigrants because they'd come to Seattle looking for work. They were planning, hadn't found any really, and they were planning to go to Yakima to look for work there. And they were, of all places, at a bus stop, about to board a bus, when an individual approached them to rob them with the stated intent of robbing them. Ended up stabbing and killing this man, 52-year-old Juan Gonzalez. He was out for a walk with his family. This happened September 29th, was ready to board a bus at 2nd Avenue and Jackson Street. Two men tried to rob him and his brother, demanded money and belongings. Gonzalez refused. The suspect stabbed him several times, according to Fox. And then I think my mind flashes back to the woman on Fox News who, Seattleites were applauding for dunking on Fox, saying that doesn't happen. People don't just walk up to you in Seattle and hurt you and try to rob you. Why are you painting it like that, Fox News? Why are you trying to push this right-wing talking point?
It's not a thing that happens just on the street. People don't just come up and try to rob people on the street.
It's not a right-wing talking point. It's reality. And it has deadly consequences. And now you have a family of this 52-year-old man who's without a dad, who's without a loved one. You want to mock that? You interested in mocking that? You interested in denying that things like this happen? I guess I just really struggle with the point. I struggle with the goal of denying the crime crisis in Seattle, denying the crime crisis in Washington State, denying the policies that have got us to this place. Does it make you feel good? Is it just in the name of ideology because the politicians here are of your political persuasion and you simply cannot acknowledge and admit that their policies have led to this, that their policies have led to the death of innocent people, attacks on innocent people? What is it? Are politics and political wins really more important to you than people's lives? That segment was brought to you in partnership with our friends over at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org. Make sure to sign up for their newsletter so you can get notified of opportunities to do just that, turn your frustration into action.